As we continue, tensions between Scott Bell and MJ Ferrantino continue to heat up tonight as Lars Sullivan and Gene Snitsky get set to lock up with the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder.
Introducing first, accompanied by MJ Ferrantino, and a combined weight of 590 pounds, the team of Gene Snitsky and Lars Sullivan. Young Mr. Ferrantino here has earned himself a growing reputation, being compared to fictional mobster Michael Corleone, with his stable successfully sidelining primetime Bobby Mills of the Unholy Trinity. And Ferrantino and Short have already established they're never gonna get along. And so, we have what you could call a sequel match to the 8-man tag at Legends Showdown Wednesday night. With these two standard teams preparing to try and outdo the other and take them down, it's very likely to become both personal and very physical.
I kind of hope it does. I'd be very disappointed if it didn't.
Despite Short's very limited resources, he is trying to keep up with Ferrantino with the recent acquisition of Rick Rude, who we saw earlier tonight. But even Rick Rude feels like a few little marbles in the bucket when you put Short's stable next to Ferrantino's, which is starting to look more and more like the roster of a baseball team. In any war with Ferrantino, Bell is always going to be outspent by the young upstart manager.
Particularly when you consider he's getting a little bit of extra assistance from a certain general manager, certain former Memphis millionaire, but we're going to keep his name out. That's all right.
Can't and won't call a winner here based on the rule-breaking mantra of all Scott's people. And yes, Bell himself standing at ringside could be a deciding factor here, unless, of course, Snitsky and Sullivan decide to just destroy the Revival quickly, which is also possible.
One factor we haven't considered, GB, is that the Revival just barely survived that 8-man tag with the Heenan family, and they're going in against the Ready to Go, fresh as Daisy's team of Snitsky and Sullivan, looking all red-eyed and spiky-tailed.
Red-eyed and spiky-tailed, I love it.
Accompanied by Scott Bell at a combined weight of 465 pounds, Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson, the Revival.
Can't seem to tell if they look A, determined, or B, like they're walking the green mile. I can't really be sure. Well, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, one thing is certain, they did take a hell of a fight beating at the hands of the Heenan family Wednesday night in an 8-man tag match. I don't know how good they're going to be tonight. But Scott Bell, I'm sure he's going to try and add every little bit of help that he possibly can.
As for Bell Unlimited itself, everyone in power around here has done a great job, making sure Short never gets back any real power back in the company. From his dad, Jack McLeod, the big boss of RWL, right down to general managers like you, Steve Groves, and Gene Barry, keeping Bell right where he is, allowed to do only so much. Has been a pretty successful project, with everything else we've got going on here, with the Sectarians, the Future Endeavor, and every other little skirmish we've got happening right now. Could you imagine how hard it would be if Scott Bell was a bigger problem?
If that were the case, I'd probably recruit Don Roy Caruso to blow up his goddamn car again. Now, Johnny, you say too close to call. I can't exactly agree. Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, like you said, took a hell of a beating Wednesday night. They are definitely not going to be in the same shape as Snitsky and Sullivan, and they are going to get DESTROYED.
I can see your point, and well, I'm sure everyone who's got a problem with Bell Unlimited is hoping you're right about that. Still, the Revival and Bell will totally cheat, because they'll have to, just to stay freaking alive. And I still say it could be a factor.
Well, you can try and cheat, but they're going to be trying to cheat on like 2 flat tires. You remember all them triple power bombs the Revival took Wednesday night? If Snitsky and Sullivan get a good hold on them, we may not see these guys for a while. All right, gang, we're ready to go. The teams have chosen up sides. It's going to be Lars Sullivan and Scott Dawson starting off this tag team matchup here as Willie Johnson sounds the bell, and here we go. Lars Sullivan catches a kick from Scott Dawson. Dawson sets him up for a pretty nice suplex, but not even a 1 count. Scott Dawson rounds up Lars Sullivan. Sullivan with a hard kick to the midsection. Rounds up Dawson. Dawson goes behind, slips behind in the back door. Whips Lars Sullivan to the corner. He rebounds out. Dawson with a falling suplex. Lars Sullivan back up on his feet. Grapples and misses. Dawson delivers a couple of kicks. Gets a hold of him. Delivers a knock to the back of the head. Lars Sullivan driven into the opposing team's corner. Counters with a kick, gets out. Dawson, preferring to keep him there, gets him back in the Dragon Sleeper. Drags him back into the corner a second time. Lars Sullivan says, nope, not going. Here, try my corner. Oh, and there goes our referee. Poor Willie Johnson. Can't seem to catch a break. Lars Sullivan rounded up by Scott Dawson. We're going to have one of these little tugs of war again. Back and forth between the 2 corners, huh? Okay. Dawson going back to the opposing team's corner. Please break this up, Lars Sullivan. Lars Sullivan staring daggers as Scott Dawson gets a hold of him, has him up over one shoulder. A beautiful 1-arm slam. And here's a cover. 1, 2. Oh, damn near a near fall for Scott Dawson. Dawson counters with an elbow, backs up Lars Sullivan a step. A clothesline takes Sullivan down into the corner. Lars Sullivan whipped out of the corner by Scott Dawson. Dawson rounds him back up, gets a hold of him. Nice vertical suplex. Simple but effective. Scott Dawson gathers up Sullivan. Sullivan slams him face first into the canvas. Dawson counters with an elbow. And a gouge of the eyes to Lars Sullivan. Sullivan again whipped back to that same corner. And here's a tag to Dash Wilder. He ain't going to make it out this time. Dawson takes him down to the canvas. Winds up the... Oh, man, that's nasty. A horrible kick right to the knee with the point of the toe from Dash Wilder. Has now rounded up Lars Sullivan. Sullivan counters, slams him into his own team's corner. Dash Wilder takes the ride again. Here's a tag to Gene Snitsky. There's a kick to the ribs for Dash Wilder. Dash Wilder counters with a kick to the leg of Snitsky. Snitsky counters with an arm drag. Rounds up Dash Wilder, pitches him over the top rope out onto the floor. And he's on the wrong side of town too. Gene Snitsky playing a little bit of mind games with Dash Wilder as he steps out. Snitsky with a gouge of the eyes to Dash Wilder. Wilder gathered up again by Snitsky. Snitsky winds up the arm, goes behind on him. Dash counters with an elbow to the face. Dash Wilder winds up the arm on Snitsky. Snitsky counters with a couple of kicks to the gut. Some hard ones too. Dash Wilder with a knee breaker on G. Snitsky. As the referee continues to count, Snitsky counters the double ear shot, kick to the midsection, a chop across the chest. Dash Wilder catches a rake to the back and a clothesline that takes him down near the aisle. Wow. Dash Wilder counters with a leg sweep, rounds up Snitsky. Snitsky counters with another arm drag, misses with the double axe handle. Pitches Dash Wilder towards the barricade, doesn't quite get there though. Dash rounded up by Snitsky. Snitsky countered with a kick from Dash Wilder. Wilder practically driven into Too Short Popeye Scott Bell. Dash Wilder rounds up Snitsky. Has him up. Snitsky counters with an elbow that backs him the hell off right away. Hip into the ring post time with the titles on the line. You can play it anytime, even if you're 99. Into the ring post time, into the ring post time, into the ring post time, into the ring post time. Too short. Helping up a stunned Dash Wilder. He finally snaps out of it, gets back into the ring. Snitsky right there waiting for him with a fireman's carry. Dash Wilder counters with a left. Winds up Snitsky into a nice neck breaker. And now, a little bit of chokey. At the hands of Dash Wilder, Gene Snitsky's laid out. Scott Bell's introduced the chair. Well, what else is new? Scott Dawson comes in on the tag. Snitsky counters him with a kick. Misses with that move, whatever the hell it was supposed to be. Scott Dawson pounds him up over the shoulders. Gene Snitsky catching a driver on top of that steel chair. Wasn't really much the referee could do about it. A stomp to the midsection. An arm snap from Scott Dawson. Dawson taken down to the canvas by Snitsky. Too short. Getting into it. And there's the distraction as Scott Dawson delivers a second knee breaker to Gene Snitsky. Referee Willie Johnson needs to get the chair the hell on out of there. Scott Dawson counters the kick from Snitsky into a dragon screw and right back onto that damn chair. A kick to the chest from Scott Dawson, who tags out, tags in Dash Wilder. I don't know if that's brave or not exactly. Oh! Well, there we go, a sneaky little double team as Scott Dawson feigns an exit. Leaves Dash Wilder laid out. Lars Sullivan has come in on the tag, and he's trying to crawl his way back to somewhere else. Lars Sullivan hung up on the top rope. Dash Wilder covers one. And not even one. And now. Oh, this one's gotten pretty crazy already. Dash Wilder with a stomp to the back of the head of Lars Sullivan. A stomp to the side of the head. Dash Wilder rounded up. Oh, here's an arm drag from Lars Sullivan. Sullivan gets him from behind. Oh, that was just nasty. Knee to the midsection, but delivered with a great deal of force. Dash makes his way back inside, gets a hold of Lars Sullivan. Hard whip to the far corner, a clothesline, and down goes Lars. Lars Sullivan being set up here by Dash Wilder, a nasty leg snap. And one thing about the Revival, they do know some seriously painful moves. Scott Dawson tags in Lars Sullivan. You know Scott Bell's loving watching Lars Sullivan get his. He fired Lars Sullivan, went to the Ferrantino group, and now he's absolutely furious about it. Lars Sullivan rounds up Scott Dawson. Dawson with a kick to the midsection. Sullivan whipped to the corner. Oh, look at that. Scott Dawson took out his own partner. A shot to the head and a headbutt from Lars Sullivan to Scott Dawson. Dawson with a jab. A quick uppercut. Down goes Lars again. A stomp to the back. Scott Dawson with another kick to the midsection and a DDT. He's going for the cover and a hook of the leg. One. Gene Snitsky not there to spoil the party. Scott Dawson staring daggers at Snitsky, who has to start all over again with a pissed off Lars Sullivan. Sullivan countered into the corner. There's a kick to the midsection and a rake of the odds across the top rope from Scott Dawson. Lars Sullivan on one knee here. Dawson with a dragon screw. But that ain't all. Snaps the leg too. Dawson rounds up Lars. Whoa, man. Nasty shot to the knee. Scott Dawson starting to show signs of fatigue here at the halfway mark in this matchup. There's a kick to the midsection from Lars Sullivan. Sullivan has him up for the powerbomb, but Scott Dawson would rather not go. Makes the point with a couple of shots to the head. A quick jab. Sullivan whipped to the ropes. A collision with no result. Dawson whipped to the corner. Sullivan moves in on him. Dawson quickly counters, gets out of the corner. Rounds Sullivan up. Snake eyes across the top turnbuckle. Sullivan turned around, Russian leg sweep from Scott Dawson. A stomp to the leg. And again, we're getting real close to the halfway mark in this 20-minute time limit matchup. Lars Sullivan laid out face down, and I hate to say it, but the Revival seems to have the advantage at the moment. Lars Sullivan swings and misses with a clothesline. Here's a hard shot to Dawson. Another clothesline from Lars Sullivan that takes him down. He gets right back up again, catches a hard right, catches another one, down to one knee. Lars Sullivan rounds him up. Hard whip to his team's corner, and a big splash. Down goes Scott Dawson. That was a nasty combination of moves from Lars Sullivan. Sullivan with the, well, here we go. The advantage is about to go out the window as Lars Sullivan starts fighting with his old boss, Too Short Popeye. Dawson back up on his feet. Gets up, sneaks up behind on Lars Sullivan, whips him to his team's corner. Is he going to go after Gene Snitsky too? Yes, he is. Scott Dawson debating whether or not he should go after Gene Snitsky. Focuses on Lars Sullivan instead. Tags in Dash Wilder. Graves though, oh man, they are double teaming nasty tonight, the Revival. Well, I suppose when you're trying to survive, that's the best thing you can do. Dash Wilder drives an elbow into the leg of Lars Sullivan. Sullivan with a hard shot takes down Dash Wilder, indicating to the fans here in Vancouver, don't worry about me, I'm okay. I'm all right, don't nobody worry about me. Oh man, Sullivan rounds him up. Big time one-arm slam from Lars Sullivan. Scott looks like he's going to have a heart attack. Yep, sure enough, he's going to get involved, allowing Scott Dawson to break up the tag. Lars Sullivan, meanwhile, makes his way to the top turn, stopped by Scott Dawson. A kick to the back takes Lars Sullivan down. You wasn't kidding, Johnny. They're going to cheat their tails off. Scott pulls himself. Well, you got to be kidding me. Is he insane? What's he going to do? He's fighting with the referee. Getting in the referee's face. Like I said, he's done had it. Scott is done. He is out of here. Too Short Popeye, his own worst enemy. And he has just been ejected from this matchup. Meanwhile, we got Dash Wilder laid out. We got Lars Sullivan laid out. Hard right from Dawson. Tries for the DDT. Sullivan counters with some shots from the midsection. Oh, man, military press slam. Lars Sullivan dragging Dash Wilder towards center. Not even towards center, towards his team's corner. And here comes Gene Snitsky. Oh, 300-plus pound double stomp to the midsection. And that's going to rearrange your inside. Snitsky out on the apron as Scott Dawson is brought in on the attack. Snitsky rolls himself back inside. Here's a shot from Scott Dawson. A kick from Scott Dawson and a DDT to Gene Snitsky. Snitsky came escorted towards center. Here we go again. Dawson winding up the submission. Winding up the legs of Gene Snitsky, but Lars Sullivan right there to break up that submission hold. Scott Dawson starting to look a little bit frustrated here. Snitsky dragged towards the edge. Here we go. 1, 2. No. Gene Snitsky had nearly taken enough punishment for that. Snitsky winds up the arm, snaps it on Scott Dawson, gets a hold of him, double ear clap, back Snitsky off. Dawson whips Snitsky to his team's corner. Snitsky escapes the corner. Dawson counters with a kick. Gets a hold of Snitsky, a shot to the back of the head. Looks like we're going back to the other team's corner. Oh man, a shot to the head to the turnbuckle. Snitsky again counters. Lars Sullivan getting involved here. He collides with Scott Dawson. This one's been total chaos. I've seen stuff happen that we don't usually see. Okay. Hard whip to the corner for Scott Dawson. Gene Snitsky sets him up on that turnbuckle. There's a hard right, and guess who's going for a 10-foot express elevator to hell ride? Scott Dawson crashes and burns. Gene Snitsky with a definite high-risk maneuver in the top rope superplex, and he has laid out Scott Dawson. And now the punishment's starting to get real serious. Oh, man. Almost 15 minutes into this 20-minute match, and we still ain't got a winner. Elbows to the midsection for Snitsky. Snitsky counters. A chop across the chest. A chop across the chest from Scott Dawson. Snitsky rolled towards the barricade, but no good. Dawson rounds him up. Snitsky counters. Catches a jawjacker. Counters Scott Dawson again. Another set of chops to the chest, back and forth between these two. Slam head first into the apron goes Gene Snitsky. Scott Dawson rounds him up. Referee Willie Johnson still counting. But finally, we get Snitsky back in the ring. Here comes Dawson. Dawson gets a hold of Snitsky quick. Whips him to his team's corner. A cheap shot from Dash Wilder as he comes in on the tag. And here comes that nasty double team again. Scott Dawson winds up the legs. Dash Wilder with a kick of the point of the toe right to the patella. Ow. Drives a knee right into the head of Gene Snitsky. Snitsky rounded up, whip to the corner. Dash Wilder nails him for the clothesline. Goes for the cover. 1, 2. Oh, almost. Goes but no cigar. Scott Dawson tries to take down Lars Sullivan, but he ain't gonna do that. Sullivan's got him up. Big time scoop slam. Snitsky with an arm drag on Dash Wilder. Oh, here we go. Dash Wilder in big time trouble as he's about to catch yet another triple power bomb from Ferrantino's boys. And boom, there it is. Dash Wilder laid out but good. Gene Snitsky covers, hooks the leg. This could very well be the end right here. 1, 2. And that is it. Snitsky and Sullivan defeating the Revival by pinfall, and Dash Wilder, he ain't moved.
The time, 16 minutes and 42 seconds. Your winners by pinfall, Gene Snitsky and Lars Sullivan.
Final analysis on this match. To their credit, the Revival fought like they were fighting for their lives, because they kinda were. They competed so defensively, it quite literally took Snitsky and Sullivan near the full-time limit to put down Dash Wilder with that triple power bomb, assisted by MJ Ferrantino. And yeah, Too Short got himself chucked from ringside. I won't say it was a perfect match, but in my book, we got a happy ending.
For me, it was close to perfect. Hey, Tex even got in his ring post zone. How can you possibly go wrong?
Aw, thank you, GB, but someone who does not have a happy ending is going to be Dash Wilder, as he is going to have to be assisted the hell on out of here. He's hurt bad. We may not see Dash Wilder for some time to come, as MJ Ferrantino looks on, drinking in his revenge on Too Short Popeye, as another competitor bites the dust at the hands of the Ferrantino stable. Fans, we're going to be right back with more RWL Snarl right after the break. Please stay with us.